Welcome, and in this video we are going to learn how to create a table using HTML and CSS. So without wasting any time, let's go straight and start. Right here on my desktop, I'm just going to create a folder and I'm going to call this table. If you're on Windows, simply right-click on this folder and open it with your code editor. And if you're on Mac, you can simply drag and drop this folder into your code editor. Now we have this folder as our project folder. So here we can create a new file, and I'm simply going to call this index.html. We can use the shortcut to generate the HTML boilerplate. And let's change this title to table. To create a table in HTML, it is very simple. All we need to do is to add what we call the table elements. Very simple. So here we simply add the table element. Inside the table element, we have what we call the table head and the table body. So let's go to the finished project. So if you look at the finished project, this here is what we call the table head, and every other thing here is what we call the table body. So in this particular case, we simply need to add a table head. So inside the table element, we add the T head. So it is called the T head. And we also have the T body. Basically, the T head is just going to contain this, and the T body is gonna contain every other thing. Good. So inside the T head, now we need to add what we call the TR. So if you look at this, this is simply a row. So this is a row, this is a row. So here we just have to add a table row. And in HTML, we represent that using the TR element. So here we use TR. And inside this TR, so you see that everything here is just in this role. So inside the TR, we add everything here. Also, when you look at this table, you see that this is the order ID, customer name. So this actually, the first row is the title. So the first row is the title of each column. So this is column 1. And the title is the order ID. So how do we differentiate the title from the order text? And this leads us to what we call the table head. So inside this particular row, we need to add the table head. Very simple. So here we simply use the TH. Okay. And for this, we add the first item here, which is the order ID. So here we can simply add order ID. And let's generate more TH. So we can simply type TH star and let's put 4. And this is going to give us 4 TH. So we can simply copy this text to save time and put here. And the next is item, and we have quantity, and finally we have price. Now let's open this project on the web browser. And to do this, we can simply go back to where we created our projects. I created mine on the desktop. So when you click on this folder, you see the index.html. So if you right click on this, you see the option to open with. So we can open with Chrome. And here we have our table head. Great. Now we are done with the head section. The next thing we need to do is to simply go to the body. And let's go back to the table. Look at this. This also is a row. And it's just as simple as inside the body, we simply add T row. So to create a row, you simply use T row. And now inside this row, what we add in here is determined by whatsoever we have in the row. So assuming this is like a title, we could simply use TH. So we use the T head here. But in this case, this is not a title. So instead of using the T head, we simply use what we call the TD. So here we change this to TD. So this is going to contain the table data. In this case, we have 100. So the first one is 1001. And remember, inside this row, so this is going to hold all the content on the second row. So all the content in this row, because this is the first row inside the table body. I hope you get this. Okay. So next, we need to add another TD. And in this case, we simply write Bob. Another TD. And it is headsets. Bob bought an headset. And the quantity is 2, so we simply add TD, and here we put 2, and the amount is $100. So here we simply write 100. Let's check that is correct. So when you save this file, let's go back to the page, and now we have to refresh this file because we opened it right from the folder. So in order to save time, I'm going to close this. So back in the Visual Studio Code, click on this icon. So this is the extensions icon. So here you can search for Live Server. This particular one, click on this. And here you are going to see install. I already have it installed. So just click on install and then you close this. Good. Once you install that, you are going to see this particular icon, Go Live. Click on Go Live, and now we have this. So what this does is when I change anything here and save this file, I'm going to see the change automatically. So I don't have to keep refreshing the page. Great. So let's add back 0 here. Now I hope you understand how we get these 2 rows. So the next thing we need to do now, inside the body, we simply need to add another T row. So this is another row. So we simply add another T row. It's as simple as this. And inside the T row, we add our table data. And the first one now is 10002. So the second one is, we have Alice bought mouse. And it is 1 for $20. So next we have Charlie, and this is gonna be another TR. So we have TD, and this is going to be 10003. You can pause the video. Now you can just fill out the remaining data, that is the remaining T row. So for Charlie, for David, and the rest. Once you are done, we continue. All right. I hope you are able to complete that. Now, when you go to the page, you now have something like this. Great. Now, the next thing we need to do is to use CSS to transform this to this. Okay. So let's go now, and we can simply create another file, and let's call this style.css. All right. So first we need to link this file. So we link this file to the HTML by using the link element. Okay, and here it is the style.css. Great. First, let's see if this works. So we can simply select the body, and let's say background color of green. All right, everything is okay. So we can remove this and save this file. So the first thing we need to do here is what we call a global reset. And by global reset, I mean removing all the default margins or paddings. So here I'm going to set the margin. So let's set the margin to 0 and the padding also to 0. Let's set the box sizing. So the box sizing to border box. Great. So the next thing we need to do is to style the body. And for the body, I'm just going to set a font family and let's use the sans serif. So any sans serif. And another thing we can do, because if you look at the finished project, the table is at the center of the page. So right from the body, so let's go back. The body contains this table. So we can actually do something on the body to move the table to the center. So here we can set display to flex. Okay, let's open our project. And simply we just have to justify content the center. And that should give us the results. Good. Now let's also reset the line height. Now we need to style the table itself. So now let's style the table itself. So for the table, let's increase the font size. Let's set it to 18 pixels. Okay. Now let's add a margin top. So let's add some space here. So we can use margin top. And in this case, let's set it to, let's say 60 pixels. Okay, that looks okay. Let's set the width. And this should be 80%. Now let's tie all the TR inside the table head. So we select that, remember, descendant selector. So that will be T head, then TR. So the TR inside the table head. Let's set the color to white. And now we shouldn't see anything. But now let's change the background color. So the background color, let's use 1010. Let's use 68. Let's change this to 69. Now let's select all the T head and also the TD. Now this is different from this. In this case, we selected the T row, that is the table row inside the table head. But in this case, we are selecting all the table head and also the TD. So here, if you look at this, the style is being applied only to any T row inside the T head. So this is a descendant selector. But in this case, the style here is going to be applied to all TH and TD. I hope you get the difference. In here, we need to add a padding because we want some space. Actually, look at this. We need some space. Okay, so here we can simply use 18 pixels top and bottom, and let's use 24 pixels left and right. And now we have this space. Also, let's actually test align to the center. And next, let's add some border. So for the border, we can use 1 pixel solid, and for the color, let's simply use 333. And now we have this. And this actually looks strange. Not really strange, because this is actually expected. This here on its own is a TD. And then when you apply a border, it has this particular border here. So it has a border here. It has just a border here. This also has its own border all around. And that is why you are seeing double borders. So here, what we can do, so on the table, we can use a CSS property called border collapse. So we can use the border collapse and we set it to collapse. And now we have this. Great. So let's select the TH inside the T head. So if you go back to the T head, this is the T head. We also have the TH. So which is this here. Okay. So for the TH, let's give it a width of 30%. So this is the finished project, and this is what we have. Now we need to apply this background color here. So let's go back and see how we can achieve this. So to achieve this, all we need to do is to actually grab the tbody. So we grab the tr inside the tbody, and here we are going to use the pseudo class. So in this case, let's use the nth child. So for the nth child, remember, we can select using, for instance, if I put 2 in here and set the background color E9ECEF and save this, you see the second one. So this is the T row. Inside we have the T body. This is the T head, and this is the T body. The T row, that is the second child inside the T body. Let's go back to our HTML, and this is the T body. So we have T row. This is the first child. This is the second child. So this here is the second T row, which is this, and this is correct. But this is not what we have, because we also have it on every other one. So the second, the fourth, the sixth. So in here, we can simply, instead of selecting it one after the other, we can simply write even. And when you go to the project, we have this. So the next thing we need to do is to grab this tie and actually repeat this, but in this case, we change it to odd. And when you save this, you have the same thing, which is different. So here we need to change the background color. So in this case, we can simply use F8, F9, and FA. Okay, now we have this. So the last thing we need to do is to remove this border and save this file. And here is what we add, and this is our own version. I hope you understand how to build table using HTML and CSS. Thank you so much for being part of this project, and I really appreciate that. Please do not forget to like this video, and if you have any question for me, please kindly use the comment section. See you and bye.